Welcome to my very first Devils YouTube video. I'm going to be covering general Devils news and some NHL news on this channel. It's going to be kind of random on what I'm going to post, but majority of it will be Devils content. So if you like Devils and you want to hear my take, drop a subscribe down below. You know what I mean? So the first thing to get into this, I am going off of my own opinion. I am not taking in other opinions. I will look at other opinions and I will assess other opinions, but these are all my own opinions. And feel free to correct me down in the comments below if I do make a mistake, because I would rather be correct than incorrect. So first things first, let's jump in the news that's already happened this summer. Well, spring or summer, whatever you want to call it, because we're in that transition period for the month. Sheldon Keefe is the head coach of the Devils, and Green goes bye-bye. And Green went up to Ottawa, which, you know, probably a good start for him back up in Canada. I didn't really think he was too great of a coach in Jersey, but I did like his fire. Now, Sheldon Keefe has made playoffs pretty much every single year as a head coach, or with him being a head coach, which is kind of insane. It's not a stat that you just kind of stumble upon. You earn that, and there's a good reason why you made playoffs all those years. It's not just your players, it's the fact that you can manage these players to get into the playoffs, and that's what I think is going to be a very good thing to see with Sheldon Keefe. Now, playoff performance, I am interested in seeing if he's going to push the Devils further than what he could with the Maple Leafs. I think the Maple Leafs a little bit of a cap issue there. You've got a lot of big players going on up there. The Devils do as well, but the Devils have some very, very org-friendly contracts that are going on, especially with like Jack Hughes. I don't want to say Timo Meier too much. We did get to see him start to perform towards the end of the season, which we'll go into later. Where was Palat this year? Like, I didn't see him much. So we'll definitely take a look into that, and possibly in another video what happened with Palat. So going down the list, we got Ryan McGill. I believe he was returning. Actually, everybody is returning. The only one that was new is Jeremy Colleton. I think that's how you say his last name. He came from Abbotsford Canucks, which is Vancouver's A team. I am kind of interested to see what's going to happen with him. I think it's a good hire. Ryan McGill, he was a Vegas Golden Knights assistant coach. I believe he came over either last year or 22. There's nothing bad to say about him. I haven't heard anything bad. Chris Taylor, Rochester Americans a player, I believe. And then he started assistant coach with the Devils. Sergei Brelin, Ring of Honor last year. Pretty self-explanatory. There's no reason for him to be going. I think he is going to be very solid with the Devils staffing coach for the foreseeable future. Dave Rogalski, I don't think is a great pick. I'm going to voice my opinion on that. I don't think he was necessarily the best hire that you could have had, but I'm not going to say he's the worst hire that you could have had. Hopefully Rogalski can do work with whatever or whoever we pick up next year. It's going to be kind of crazy seeing what happens. I'm kind of curious if Kaapo Kähkönen comes back. There could be a case made that he can be a very big performant goalie, and we just haven't seen that from him in San Jose. And then giving them that little trial period in Jersey might have been a very big case statement, if I could say that right, to stay in Jersey and to, you know, move with the team and hopefully get a very solid goaltending setup going. As far as I'm concerned, better than Vanacek. I would take him any day. We re-signed Curtis McDermott to a 3-year contract. Pretty solid. I think that's a very good starting base for your enforcement if you do need it, and that's especially a nice case to have with Brandon Smith possibly not returning. I'd like to see Brandon Smith return as an assistant coach at some point. I think he would be a very solid coach or be somewhere involved with the staff, but as a player, I think he is towards the end of his career. If not, that might have been the last few games that we've seen him play, and that would be in the Devils jersey. Now, we did have Seamus Casey signing his ELC. That's kind of massive. I think there's going to be a lot of good stuff to see with him when he does eventually play his NHL games. I'm kind of curious if they're going to start him in the A or if he's going to just jump straight into NHL right away. I'd be a little bit afraid to have him jump in right away, only because we do have a really young D-line right now, and adding another one might be a little bit of an issue. I'm going to see some improvement in that defense department, especially for John Marino and Siegenthaler. Siegenthaler's stats were absolutely abysmal this past year. I know he did have an injury towards the end of the year, but it was absolutely abysmal as we went through the year. The crazy thing is that 2 seasons ago, when the Devils weren't in the playoff, I think that was some of his best stats that he's ever posted. And then last year, it started to slip. So we got lucky with making it to playoffs with Siegenthaler, and I won't forget that he did throw the puck over the glass to basically seal the fate of the Devils last year. But I'll give them, some doubt. It might have been just an off season, and we'll see what happens. I mean, look at Dawson Mercer. Also had a bit of an off season. Wouldn't call it his best work ever, but I'd make a point that we should see Mercer staying with the Devils with his RFA. As far as injuries have gone for off season, Jack Hughes and Timo Meier, I believe, both had shoulder surgeries. I would have never been able to tell that Meier had something going on, especially towards the end of the season, because that was when he was starting to ramp up and really turn on for the season. The Devils did make a statement about Jack Hughes recently, and it was relatively positive, is that he's looking to hit the gym as much as possible, put on some weight for next season. I definitely say that would probably be a very good thing for Jack Hughes, because Jack Hughes isn't the biggest player ever, and he got tossed around a little bit last year. I am interested in seeing how he's going to perform post-injury. The fact that he's still posting almost a point per game with the injury this past season was kind of insane. We want healthy Jack Hughes, and we're hoping that that's going to happen this season. There's been a ton of things flying around about different goalies. I read an article today, and it was about Jordan Binnington and how the Devils should be looking at him as kind of like a blockbuster goalie move that's kind of going to fly under the radar, and the fact that the Blues already do have a successor to Jordan Binnington. I mean, it's a very similar situation that the Blues have like the Predators. The Predators have Saros right now. I forget their other goalie's name, but I know they've been having a really, really great running with him so far. I would say Jordan Binnington would kind of be the dark horse of trades if the Devils were going to go for a goalie of that caliber. Now, the biggest rumor has been Markstrom. I'm going to straight up say I would rather pass on Markstrom. I'd rather us look at Ullmark if possible, or Saros. I know those two are going to be very, very, very covenant and very hard to get. But if you're the Predators, 10th overall pick doesn't look so bad, especially with possibly going to the playoffs next season and having that opportunity. So I'd be very, very interested in seeing what happens with this goalie search. Really, really hope that Fitzgerald does deliver on what he said, and that was getting a big-time goalie. I will say I think goalie is going to be the biggest thing to focus on besides a winger and obviously your defense. Your defense definitely needs some nice addition. I will go into some more detail in some other videos. Comment down below what you guys want me to go ahead and talk about. I am open to talking about a lot of things with the Devils and NHL. Speaking of which, there should be a general NHL video dropping after this video. So if you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe and like, and I'll see you guys in the next video.